It's great until the finance or the CFO asks, how are we paying for it? So I would say this, John, maybe over to you since we're right in the room there with Vineet. How
Yeah.
does it fundamentally change how hospitals fund IT? What tools are out there and where does the money come from to help modernization and transformation?
I'll give a perspective and then I'll turn it over to Vineet. For us, we've been sort of thrusted into the notion of cost takeout, cost transformation ever since COVID, right? So if you know, just take us all back a little bit, during COVID, the number one criteria for any C suite operator, CIO, CEOs, CTO, CFO, was how do I take out cost? Well, what that did for our organization was it allowed us to build up muscle and capability to address those issues head on. Over the years, I've partnered with Vineet to turn that muscle or discipline into a process, and a process that specifically looks at network operations, because at the end of the day, that sphere of influence that we operate in. How do you fund transformation?
No, completely. To John's point, yeah, cost is a perennial issue. And especially when you have network and telecom cost, means on IT side, there are a lot of ability for you, kind of tools availability or people consulting capability, which can kind of talk about, hey, how's your server sprawl? What's happening around that? Network and telecom has largely not been that much. It's just purely being saying, let's release an RFP and figure out what we can get a cheaper one. So the way we looked at this problem was not only like what we're talking about. For us, the program that we have set up is a strategic cost optimization transformation. We kind of about a year back started relooking at that, saying is cost optimization based on whatever data exists. You have a lot of data coming from a lot of data sources. How do you analyze it? How do you reconcile it? On an average, whenever we meet in any of the C suites, the challenge is that spend is a moving needle. You're not able to kind of pinpoint. It's always a lag of 4 to 5 weeks. So what we did is we took an AI first approach of putting a platform together called Costi.ai, which is basically intention is it ingests all the data, looks at every whether it's invoices, whether it is CMDB data that you have about, or if it is any telecom expense management data, or if it is like a procurement data on Excel sheets. It picks up all that, even scanned contracts, ingest that entire thing, or through that, and it's done in a secure way. We do it in a very non-invasive way, and then it kind of enhances that ability to draw correlation between all the data. So it kind of starts looking at the patterns and everything else. So what you're doing with the cost is very surgical. So effectively, especially in healthcare, we're not bringing a katana sword across and saying let's swipe it on basis of here are the buckets of same. Versus, it's a very surgical method of saying is we exactly know what you're spending. For example, what are you spending on your mobility devices? What are you spending on mobility plans? How well are you utilizing them? When are your contracts starting and ending? Is there a benchmark available against that? Is there a technology optimization possible? Or is there a transformed stuff? Like, for example, one of the things that gets overlooked is like your old devices are consuming power. Newer devices consume less power. That saving is never, in a traditional model, you simply look at saying is cost A, cost B. You never take the cost of compliance, cost of, electricity, cost of all other factors that come into play. So with the AI tool, what we have done is we now have ability to ingest a lot of data, analyze it, and then drive it. And we also have it backed with SMEs that look at the cost in a way that there are regulatory costs, there are design costs. It takes everything into comprehensive way. So the saving that you see is the saving that you get versus trying to get into, just a whole consulting one, which is you put a number, then you have to figure out how to get to it. Here we go down to asset, and asset had all its attributes are taken into account, all the financials associated with that. So that way, we're able to draw a cost picture which is real time, realistic, and it's a true North Star, and then drive what kind of transformations it can do.
Just going to add a little bit. One of the things that many organizations, hospitals in particular, don't necessarily look at, or the better way to say this, in a traditional telecom expense management fashion. It's always a like for like cost reduction technique. I think what ours and what Vineet speaks to is there are ways to take out costs because you're actually fundamentally changing how transport occurs. And T-Mobile, particularly T-Mobile's 5G connectivity, allows for that change. So I just wanted to make that point. Wes?
The question was, how do you fund it? You can't fund it the traditional way. That just does not work. No CFO is going to start giving you wheelbarrows full of cash. You do it in a asymmetric way, in a way that we did not, as just the customer would have expected to do. We don't have that expertise. We wouldn't have looked at it that way. So we would get CDW, for example. I want somebody else that's looking at things differently than I am, that have got other expertise I don't have within the team to help me make those other decisions.